The Grand Council Hall of the Galactic Alliance was a sight to behold. Towering spires of gleaming metal and glass stretched towards the domed ceiling, their polished surfaces reflecting the vibrant hues of the alien delegates gathered within. This was where the most advanced civilizations of the known galaxy convened to discuss matters of universal importance. Today, the agenda was focused on a newly discovered species, the humans, a primitive race hailing from a small, unassuming planet called Earth. As the council members took their seats, a hush fell over the chamber, and all eyes turned towards the ornate podium at the center. Xyloth, the venerable counselor of the Daxarian Empire, rose to address the assembly. His deep, rumbling voice echoed through the hall as he spoke. "Esteemed colleagues, we are here today to discuss the implications of this newfound species, the humans, and their potential impact on our galactic order." A series of holographic displays flickered to life, showcasing the limited technological and military advancements of the human civilization. The counselors examined the data with a mixture of curiosity and disdain. According to our scouts, these humans have only recently begun venturing beyond their home planet, using primitive chemical-powered spacecraft and crude weaponry, Xyloth continued. Their martial capabilities are laughable, their scientific understanding is infantile, and their political structure is fractured and unstable. A murmur of agreement rippled through the assembled delegates. The counselor of the Vosarian hegemony leaned forward, her iridescent scales glinting in the light. Clearly, this human species poses no threat to the established order of the Galactic Alliance. Their inclusion would be of little benefit, and may even disrupt the delicate balance we have maintained for millennia. A chorus of affirmations rose from the council chambers. Only one figure remained silent, observing the proceedings with a neutral expression. This was Erin, a human representative sent to observe the council's deliberations, her presence a concession made by the Galactic Alliance to appease the newly discovered species. Xyloth cleared his throat, commanding the attention of the room once more. It is the consensus of this council that formal contact with the human civilization is unnecessary and potentially detrimental. We shall maintain a policy of non-interference and allow their primitive society to develop, or inevitably collapse, on its own. A hum of agreement rippled through the chamber, and the councilors began to discuss the logistical details of implementing this decision. Erin, seated quietly in the corner, felt a growing sense of unease. She had witnessed the council's arrogance and dismissive attitude towards her home planet and its people. As the meeting drew to a close, Xyloth turned towards Erin, his imposing gaze piercing through her. "You may convey our decision to your leaders, human. Inform them that the Galactic Alliance has no interest in establishing formal relations with your kind. Your primitive military poses no threat to us, and your inclusion in our esteemed body would only serve to weaken our collective power." Erin nodded, her jaw clenched tight. "I will relay your message, counselor. But I can assure you, the human species is far more capable than you believe." Without another word, she rose from her seat and exited the council hall, her footsteps echoing in the vast chamber. As she made her way back to her ship, Erin's mind raced with the implications of what she had witnessed. The Galactic Council had just condemned her home planet to obscurity, dismissing humanity's potential with a casual wave of their clawed hands. But Erin knew better. She had seen the determination and resilience of her fellow humans, their tenacity in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds. And deep within her, a spark of defiance began to burn, a resolve to prove the arrogant counselors wrong, no matter the cost. The news of the Galactic Council's dismissal of humanity spread like wildfire through the governments of Earth. Diplomatic channels were flooded with outrage and demands for reconsideration, but the Council remained steadfast in its decision. In the halls of power, human leaders huddled in heated discussions, their faces etched with a mix of frustration and determination. They had spent decades building a fragile coalition, forging a united front in the face of old rivalries and political tensions. Now that unity was more important than ever. "The Council thinks we're nothing more than primitives," growled General Harrington, slamming his fist on the table. They've condemned us to irrelevance, cut us off from the rest of the galaxy. We can't let them get away with that." The other officials in the room nodded in agreement, their expressions grim. "We need to show them the true might of the human race," said the president, her voice firm. "But how? Our military technology is decades, if not centuries, behind the rest of the galaxy." It was then that Erin, the human representative to the Galactic Council, stepped forward. All eyes turned to her as she cleared her throat, her brow furrowed in thought. "There may be a way," she began, her voice measured. "During my time on the Council, I observed their arrogance, their dismissive attitude towards us. They truly believe we are no threat." Erin paused, a glimmer of determination flashing in her eyes. "What if we were to create something that would shatter that perception? Something that would force them to reckon with the capabilities of the human race?" The officials exchanged a series of glances, their curiosity piqued. "Go on," the president urged. "A secret project," Erin continued, her words quickening with excitement. "Something that will redefine the boundaries of human technology and military might. A ship, unlike anything the galaxy has ever seen, that will prove our worth and demand the respect of the Galactic Council." The room fell silent as the implications of Erin's proposal sank in. General Harrington stroked his chin, his brow furrowed in thought. "It's a bold plan," he acknowledged, "but it will require resources, manpower, and an unprecedented level of secrecy. Can we pull it off?" The president nodded, her eyes narrowing with resolve. "We have no choice. The future of our species depends on it. Erin, you will lead this project. Assemble the best and brightest minds our planet has to offer. Leave no stone unturned in your quest to create a vessel that will shake the very foundations of the Galactic Council." Erin straightened her posture, a newfound sense of purpose radiating from her. "It will be done, Madam President. This ship will be the embodiment of human ingenuity, determination, and defiance. When the Galactic Council finally lays eyes on it, they will never underestimate us again." With that, the meeting was adjourned, and the officials dispersed, their steps quickening with a renewed sense of urgency. Erin, now thrust into a crucial role, felt the weight of her responsibility settle upon her shoulders. But she was undaunted, her resolve hardening with each passing moment. As she made her way back to her quarters, Erin's mind raced with the possibilities. The human race was about to embark on a journey that would redefine their place in the galactic order. And she would be the one to lead the charge, to prove to the arrogant counselors that the humans were far more than just a primitive species. The clock was ticking, and the stakes had never been higher. Erin knew that failure was not an option. The fate of her home planet, and perhaps the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. The years that followed saw a flurry of activity on Earth as the human leaders worked tirelessly to bring Erin's bold plan to fruition. Vast sums of resources were poured into the secret project, drawing the brightest scientific and engineering minds from across the globe. Erin, now a high-ranking military officer, was put in charge of the endeavor, her sharp intellect and unwavering determination proving invaluable. She assembled a team of trusted advisors and carefully vetted personnel, ensuring that the details of the project remained hidden from prying eyes. As the months turned into years, the scope of the undertaking became increasingly ambitious. What had started as a daring concept evolved into a technological marvel, a feat of engineering that pushed the boundaries of human capabilities. Deep within a series of hidden facilities scattered across the planet, the construction of the ship progressed in absolute secrecy. Cutting-edge materials, revolutionary propulsion systems, and advanced weaponry were all integrated into the design, transforming the vessel into a formidable instrument of power. Meanwhile, the Galactic Council remained blissfully unaware of the humans' audacious plans. Xyloth and the other counselors continued to dismiss the primitive species, content in the knowledge that their decision to ignore the humans had been the right one. Erin, however, remained vigilant, her eyes constantly scanning the horizon for any sign of the Galactic Alliance's next move. She knew that the success of her mission depended on maintaining the element of surprise, For when the time came to reveal the true might of the human race, it had to be a moment that would shatter the Council's arrogance forever. As the construction neared completion, Erin began to gather her most trusted lieutenants, briefing them on the final stages of the project. Their expressions were a mix of excitement and trepidation, for they understood the magnitude of what they were about to unleash upon the unsuspecting galaxy. "This ship," Erin declared, her voice firm and unwavering, "will be the embodiment of human resilience, ingenuity, and determination. When we present it to the Galactic Council, they will have no choice but to acknowledge our capabilities and reckon with the power of our species." The officers nodded in agreement, their eyes shining with a newfound sense of purpose. They had all witnessed the Council's dismissive attitude towards humanity, and the thought of proving them wrong filled them with a fierce determination. "The time has come," Erin continued, her gaze sweeping across the room. "Our ship is ready, and the stage is set. Tomorrow, we will make our move, and the Galactic Council will tremble before the might of the human race." A chorus of affirmations rose from the assembled officers, and Erin knew that they were as ready as they would ever be. The day of reckoning was upon them, and she could feel the weight of the responsibility pressing down on her shoulders. As the meeting drew to a close, Erin took a moment to gaze out of the window, her eyes fixed on the horizon. The future of humanity hung in the balance, and she was determined to ensure that they would emerge victorious. With a deep breath, she turned to her lieutenants, her expression resolute. "Prepare the ship. It's time to show the Galactic Council what we're made of." The officers saluted, their movements crisp and efficient, and Erin knew that they shared her unwavering determination. The human race was about to make its mark on the galaxy, and nothing, not even the arrogance of the Galactic Council, would stand in their way. The Grand Assembly Hall of the Galactic Council was a hive of activity as delegates from across the galaxy gathered to discuss the pressing matters of the day. Xyloth, the venerable counselor of the Daxarian Empire, presided over the proceedings, his deep voice commanding the attention of all present. Suddenly, a commotion erupted near the entrance, causing the delegates to turn their heads in unison. A lone figure strode into the chamber, its presence commanding an immediate hush from the assembled aliens. Erin, now adorned in the crisp uniform of a high-ranking human military officer, stepped forward, her gaze sweeping across the council with a mixture of determination and defiance. "Esteemed members of the Galactic Council," she began, her voice calm and measured, "I come before you today with a message from the human race." Xyloth's brow furrowed in confusion, his clawed fingers tapping the surface of the ornate podium. "The humans," he rumbled. "We have already made our decision regarding your species. What business could you possibly have here?" Erin's lips curled into a faint smile. "I think you will find that our business here is of the utmost importance, Counselor." She turned, gesturing towards the entrance of the chamber. A collective gasp rippled through the council as a massive shape emerged, its sleek lines and gleaming hull casting an imposing shadow over the proceedings. The human battleship, a technological marvel unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen, glided into the assembly hall, its powerful engines humming with barely contained power. Xyloth's eyes widened in shock, his claws gripping the edges of the podium as he struggled to compose himself. "What is the meaning of this?" he demanded, his voice laced with a hint of panic. Erin stepped forward, her expression calm and unwavering. "This, Counselor, is the embodiment of human ingenuity and determination. While you and the rest of the Galactic Council dismissed us as primitive and insignificant, we have been hard at work, forging a weapon that will shatter your preconceptions forever." The human battleship glided to a stop, its massive frame casting a long shadow over the assembled delegates. The council members exchanged frantic whispers, their eyes darting between Erin and the towering vessel before them. "Your arrogance has blinded you to the true capabilities of the human race," Erin continued, her voice rising in volume. "We are not the helpless, backward species you believed us to be. We are a force to be reckoned with, and we will no longer be ignored or dismissed by this council." Xylof's claws tightened on the podium, his expression a mixture of shock and barely contained rage. "This is an outrage," he bellowed. "You have no right to bring this monstrosity into our chamber. It is a violation of our sovereign." Aaron raised a hand, silencing the counselor with a sharp gesture. "The time for your condescension and dismissal is over, Xylof. The human race demands the respect and recognition it deserves, and we will not rest until we have earned our place among the stars, whether you like it or not." The counselor opened his mouth to respond, but the words seemed to die on his lips as he gazed upon the imposing form of the human battleship. For the first time in his long career, Xylof was at a loss for words, the sheer magnitude of the human's technological achievement leaving him utterly bewildered. The other delegates, too, were stunned into silence, their expressions ranging from awe to outright fear. The delicate balance of power that had governed the Galactic Council for millennia had been shattered, and they could feel the foundations of their authority crumbling beneath them. Erin's lips curled into a satisfied smile as she surveyed the stunned council members. "Consider this a warning, counselors," she declared. "The human race is no longer to be underestimated. We are here, and we are ready to take our rightful place in the galaxy. The choice is yours. Accept us as equals, or face the consequences of your continued arrogance." With that, Erin turned on her heel and strode back towards the human battleship, leaving the Galactic Council to grapple with the implications of her bold declaration. The future was no longer set in stone, and the fate of the galaxy now hung in the balance. The shockwaves rippled through the Galactic Council like a seismic tremor, rattling the very foundations of the ancient alliance. The sudden appearance of the human battleship, a technological marvel that dwarfed even the most advanced vessels in the Council's arsenal, had shattered their carefully constructed narratives about the primitive nature of the human race. In the aftermath of Erin's bold declaration, the counselors descended into a whirlwind of frantic discussions, their voices rising in a cacophony of confusion and concern. Xylof, the esteemed Daxarian counselor, paced the length of the assembly hall, his clawed fingers twitching with uncharacteristic agitation. "This cannot be," he growled, his deep voice rumbling like distant thunder. The humans were supposed to be a non-threat, a species to be ignored, until they inevitably destroyed themselves. How could they have accomplished such a feat in secret? The counselor of the Vosarian hegemony, her iridescent scales shimmering in the muted lighting, stepped forward, her expression tense. "Clearly, we have underestimated the capabilities of these humans. Their sudden emergence as a potential power in the galaxy upsets the delicate balance we have maintained for centuries." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the assembled delegates, their unease palpable. The grand halls of the Galactic Council, once a bastion of unwavering authority, now echoed with the sound of uncertainty and fear. In the shadows, a cluster of counselors huddled, their voices hushed and conspiratorial. They represented the more hawkish factions of the Alliance, those who sought to maintain the status quo at all costs. To them, the human battleship was not a challenge to be met with diplomacy, but a threat to be eliminated. "We cannot allow this human encroachment to continue," one of the counselors hissed, his eyes narrowed to slits. "They have dared to flaunt their power before us, and for that, they must be punished. The Council must take decisive action to crush this upstart species before they can disrupt our fragile peace." The others nodded in agreement, their expressions grim. "But how?" another counselor murmured, her scales rustling with apprehension. "The human vessel is unlike anything we have ever encountered. Its capabilities far surpass our own. Any overt aggression would be met with devastating retaliation." The first counselor's mandibles clicked together, a calculating gleam in his eyes. "Then we must find a more subtle approach, one that will eliminate the human threat without drawing the attention of the rest of the council." As the conspiratorial whispers echoed through the chamber, Erin stood tall, her gaze fixed on the distant horizon. She knew that the Galactic Council would not take her message lightly, and the repercussions of her actions would be far-reaching. But the human officer was undaunted, her resolve hardening with each passing moment. She had done her part, delivering a bold challenge to the arrogant counselors, and now it was time for her people to rise to the occasion. Turning on her heel, Erin strode towards the human battleship, her mind racing with the implications of what was to come. The Galactic Council would not simply accept the presence of the humans as equals, that much was clear. They would fight to maintain their dominance, using every tool at their disposal to eliminate the perceived threat. Erin knew that her superiors back on Earth would need to be informed of the Council's shifting attitudes. The human governments would have to prepare for the worst, fortifying their defenses and readying their military might for the impending confrontation. As she approached the sleek, imposing form of the battleship, Erin felt a surge of pride and determination. This vessel, the culmination of humanity's ingenuity and resilience, would be the linchpin in the struggle for recognition and respect in the galactic arena. The human race was no longer content to be dismissed and overlooked. They had proven their worth, and now they would fight to secure their rightful place among the stars, no matter the cost. Erin's footsteps echoed through the cavernous hangar as she made her way to the bridge, her mind already focused on the challenges that lay ahead. The future of humanity was at stake, and she would do whatever it took to ensure their triumph. The Galactic Council's chambers descended into a maelstrom of heated debate as the delegates grappled with the implications of the human battleship's sudden appearance. Factions within the ancient alliance clashed, their voices rising in a cacophony of conflicting opinions and demands. Xyloth, the Daxarian counselor, stood at the center of the storm, his weathered features etched with a mixture of shock and anger. "This cannot be allowed to stand," he bellowed, his deep voice cutting through the din. "The humans have dared to flaunt their power before us, and for that, they must be punished." The counselor of the Vosarian hegemony, her scales gleaming in the muted light, raised a clawed hand, her expression grave. "Retaliation may not be the wisest course of action, Xyloth. The human vessel is unlike anything we have encountered before. Any overt aggression could lead to devastating consequences." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the assembled delegates, their unease palpable. The delicate balance of power that had governed the Galactic Council for centuries was now threatened by the emergence of this newfound human threat. Behind the scenes, the more hawkish factions of the Alliance had already begun to plot their course of action. In the shadows, the conspiratorial counselors huddled, their voices hushed and their eyes gleaming with calculating intent. "We cannot allow the humans to disrupt the fragile peace we have maintained," one of them hissed, his clawed fingers drumming against the ornate table. "Their very existence poses a grave danger to the stability of the Galactic Council." The others nodded in agreement, their expressions grim. "Then we must move swiftly," another counselor murmured, her scales rustling with a mixture of apprehension and determination. "We must assemble a fleet capable of crushing the human menace before it can spread like a cancer through the galaxy." The first counselor's mandibles clicked together, a malicious smile spreading across his face. Yes, that is precisely what we must do. The humans must be eliminated, their battleship reduced to ashes, and their species relegated back to the obscurity from whence they came. The conspiratorial group dispersed, their footsteps echoing through the cavernous halls as they set their plan in motion. The fate of the human race now hung in the balance, and the Galactic Council was determined to eliminate the threat, no matter the cost. Back on Earth, Erin paced the bridge of the human battleship, her brow furrowed in deep contemplation. She had known that the counselors would not take her defiant message lightly, but the extent of their hostility still caught her by surprise. "They see us as a cancer," she murmured, her gaze fixed on the distant stars. "A blight that must be eradicated before it can spread and disrupt the delicate balance of power they have so carefully constructed." The human officers around her nodded grimly, their expressions tense. They had all witnessed the arrogance and condescension of the Galactic Council, and now they were preparing to face the consequences of their bold actions. "Then we must be ready," Erin declared, her voice firm and unwavering. "The counselors will not stop until they have destroyed us, and we must meet them with every ounce of our strength and determination." The officers straightened their postures, their eyes gleaming with resolve. They knew that the fate of their entire species hung in the balance, and they were determined to stand their ground against the overwhelming might of the Galactic Council. As the hours ticked by, reports began to filter in from across the galaxy, painting a grim picture of the Councilors' actions. A massive fleet was being assembled, drawing upon the combined resources and military might of the most powerful civilizations in the known universe. Erin's jaw tightened, her fingers gripping the railing of the bridge as she gazed out at the vastness of space. "They're coming," she murmured, her voice tinged with a hint of trepidation. "The Galactic Council is coming, and they are determined to crush us once and for all." The human officers braced themselves, their hands hovering over the controls of their stations. They knew that the battle to come would be the ultimate test of their species' resilience and determination. But they were ready, their resolve hardened by the knowledge that the future of humanity was at stake. As the fleet of alien vessels began to converge on their position, Erin took a deep breath, her eyes narrowing with a newfound determination. "This is it, crew," she declared, her voice ringing with unwavering conviction. "Let's show the Galactic Council what the human race is truly made of." The vastness of space was soon filled with the thunderous roar of engines and the searing flashes of energy weapons as the human battleship and a Galactic Council's massive invasion fleet clashed in a titanic showdown. Erin, her gaze steely and unwavering, barked orders to her crew, her fingers dancing across the intricate control panels as the human vessel maneuvered with a grace and agility that belied its imposing size. "They're trying to surround us," one of the officers shouted, his voice laced with a mixture of fear and determination. "We need to break through their lines and create an opening." Erin's brow furrowed in concentration, her mind racing as she plotted her next move. The Galactic Council's fleet was vast, their ships bristling with advanced weaponry and shielding technology. But the human battleship was no ordinary vessel. "Divert power from the rear shields to the forward cannons," Erin commanded, her voice calm and authoritative. "We're going to punch a hole through their lines and rally the rest of our forces." The crew sprung into action, their movements fluid and efficient as they carried out the captain's orders. The human battleship's powerful main guns roared to life, unleashing a barrage of devastating energy blasts that slammed into the alien vessels with bone-rattling force. The Galactic Council's ships, caught off guard by the ferocity of the human assault, reeled back, their shields flaring and their hulls crumpling under the relentless bombardment. "We're through," one of the officers reported, a triumphant grin spreading across his face. "The opening is ours. Now let's rally the rest of the fleet and turn the tide of this battle." Erin's lips curled into a determined smile. "All hands, prepare for a counterattack. This is our moment to show the Galactic Council the true might of the human race." As the human battleship surged forward, the rest of the human fleet, once scattered and outmatched, converged on the breach in the alien lines. Fighter craft, their sleek designs a testament to human ingenuity, weaved through the chaos of the battle, their weapons blazing with deadly precision. The Galactic Council's invasion force, once so confident in their overwhelming numbers and superior technology, found themselves on the defensive, their ships battered and their formations in disarray. Zeloth, the Daxarian counselor, watched the unfolding battle with a growing sense of dread, his clawed hands gripping the edges of the command console as he barked orders to his subordinates. "Concentrate our firepower on the human battleship," he roared, his voice laced with a desperate edge. "We cannot allow them to break our lines. The fate of the Galactic Council depends on our victory here." But the human vessel, a testament to the ingenuity and determination of its crew, proved to be a formidable adversary. Its advanced shielding and powerful weaponry allowed it to withstand the relentless barrage of the Galactic Council's ships, and its daring maneuvers continued to disrupt the alien fleet's cohesion. Erin, her expression grim but unwavering, directed the human forces with a masterful hand, her tactical acumen honed by years of training and the weight of her responsibility. Divert power to the engines, she commanded, her voice ringing with authority. We're going to make a run at their command ship. If we can take out Xyloth and his inner circle, the rest of the fleet will be crippled. The human battleship surged forward, its powerful engines propelling it through the chaos of the battle. Alien ships scrambled to intercept the towering vessel, but its advanced maneuvering and devastating firepower allowed it to cut a path through the enemy lines. As the command ship of the Galactic Council came into view, Erin's fingers tightened around the controls, her heart pounding with a mixture of adrenaline and determination. All weapons, target the command ship, she ordered, her voice cutting through the din of the battle. This ends here. The human battleship's main guns unleashed a barrage of devastating energy blasts, slamming into the command ship's shields with bone-rattling force. Xyloth and his inner circle frantically tried to regain control of the situation, but the human onslaught was relentless. With a thunderous explosion, the command ship's shields collapsed, and the vessel began to list, its systems failing under the onslaught. Erin watched the spectacle with a grim sense of satisfaction, knowing that the tide of the battle had turned in the favor of the human race. The Galactic Council's forces are in disarray, one of the officers reported, his voice tinged with awe. They're retreating, unable to withstand our assault. Erin nodded, her lips curving into a faint smile. Then let them run, she said, her voice laced with a hint of triumph. The human race has made its mark on the galaxy, and the Galactic Council will never again underestimate our capabilities. Here is Part 8, 750 words, of the story Galactic Council Scoffs at Human Military. Then our battleship changes everything. In third-person style, using simple, basic English, the skies over Earth were alive with the thunderous roar of engines as the human battleship, battered but victorious, returned to its home planet. The news of its stunning triumph against the Galactic Council's invasion fleet had spread like wildfire, igniting a surge of pride and celebration among the people of the Blue Marble. Crowds gathered in the streets, their cheers and chants echoing through the cities as the massive vessel touched down, its imposing form casting a long shadow over the eager onlookers. At the forefront of the welcoming party stood the president, her expression a mix of relief and pride as she watched the hatch of the battleship slowly open. Erin, her uniform bearing the marks of the intense battle, strode down the ramp, her gaze sweeping across the jubilant faces of her fellow humans. A smile tugged at the corners of her lips, a testament to the sense of accomplishment that filled her heart. People of Earth, she began, her voice carrying a newfound authority that commanded the attention of all present. Today, we stand victorious against the arrogance and dismissal of the Galactic Council. We have proven that the human race is a force to be reckoned with, a species whose determination and ingenuity cannot be ignored. The crowd erupted into a deafening roar, their cheers and applause echoing through the air. The president stepped forward, her eyes shining with a mixture of pride and wonder. "Captain Erin," she said, her voice tinged with awe. "Your actions have changed the course of history for our species. You have shattered the Galactic Council's preconceptions, and in doing so, you have secured our rightful place among the stars." Erin inclined her head, her expression solemn. "It was not an easy task, Madam President. The Galactic Council refused to acknowledge our capabilities, dismissing us as a primitive species unworthy of their attention. But we refused to be ignored, and we fought with every ounce of our strength to prove our worth." The president nodded, her gaze hardening with a newfound resolve. "And prove it you have. The Galactic Council will no longer be able to dismiss us or ignore our potential. They will have to reckon with the power of the human race, and they will have to do so as our equals." Erin's expression softened, a glimmer of pride shining in her eyes. "Indeed, Madam President, the battle may be won, but the war for our recognition and respect in the galaxy has only just begun." The president extended her hand, grasping Erin's in a firm handshake. "Then let us be ready, Captain. The Galactic Council may have underestimated us, but we will not make the same mistake with them. We will forge alliances, we will build our strength, and we will show them that the human race is a force to be reckoned with, both on the battlefield and in the realm of diplomacy." Erin nodded, her resolve hardening. "It will be done, Madam President. The human race will take its rightful place among the stars, and the Galactic Council will have no choice but to acknowledge our power and our potential." As the crowd erupted into another thunderous ovation, Erin turned her gaze skyward, her mind already racing with the challenges and opportunities that lay ahead. The future of humanity was no longer bound by the Galactic Council's dismissal. It was now a future forged by the determination and resilience of the human race. In the days and weeks that followed, the news of the human battleship's triumph spread like wildfire through the Galactic Council, shattering the carefully constructed narratives that had governed the ancient alliance for centuries. The counselors, once so confident in their superiority, now found themselves forced to reckon with the emergence of this new formidable power in the galaxy. Xyloth, the Daxarian counselor, had been stripped of his position and faced a barrage of scrutiny and criticism from his peers, his arrogance and dismissal of the human race now seen as a catastrophic failure of leadership. The rest of the Galactic Council, shaken by the events that had unfolded, had no choice but to open diplomatic channels with the humans, seeking to establish formal relations and explore the possibilities of cooperation. For the people of Earth, the story of the human battleship's triumph had become the stuff of legend, a testament to the indomitable spirit of their species and a reminder that the future was theirs to shape. As they looked to the stars, their eyes shone with a newfound sense of possibility. The Galactic Council's once impenetrable walls, now crumbling before the might of human determination.